Hello students, in last lecture we have seen actions of aldosterone. The hormone aldosterone is one of the mineralocorticoids and that is secreted from zona glomerulosa of adrenal cortex. So before starting this lecture, a short recap on the aldosterone. Aldosterone is the hormone that is mineralocorticoid and secreted from zona glomerulosa, but out of these two hormones of mineralocorticoids, 90% of activity is carried out by this aldosterone. It maintains osmolarity and ECF volume. Then synthesis of aldosterone. Aldosterone is steroid in nature, and for the synthesis of this aldosterone, two hormones are very important that we have seen. The hormones are CRH and ACTH. CRH is secreted from hypothalamus, and CRH hormone stimulates the secretion of ACTH from anterior pituitary, and ACTH stimulates adrenal cortex to secrete this aldosterone hormone. So for the synthesis of aldosterone, CRH and ACTH, these are the two important hormones. Then these are some precursors for the synthesis of aldosterone from zona glomerulosa. Then site of action, that means target organ or target site of the aldosterone. The main target site of this aldosterone is the renal tubules, but aldosterone also acts on sweat glands, intestine and salivary glands. But main site of action is DCT and collecting duct of nephrons. Then mode of action of this aldosterone, as this hormone is steroid in nature, so that this hormone binds with the cytoplasmic receptors, and after binding with the cytoplasmic receptors they form HRC and acts through the mRNA mechanism. So for the mode of action, we have seen that these events here, these are the cytoplasmic receptors. Cytoplasmic receptors for binding aldosterone hormone. Aldosterone is the lipid soluble and it diffuses into the cytoplasm of the tubular epithelial cells through the lipid layer of the cell membrane. So for this aldosterone, this cell is of tubular renal tubule part, or we can say it as a tubular epithelial cell, because aldosterone has main site of action is tubular portion of the kidney, nephron. So these are the target cells of aldosterone, and that cells are tubular epithelial cells of nephron. And this lipid bilipid cell membrane of tubular epithelial cells, and through this cell membrane this aldosterone hormone can easily pass, because this hormone is steroid in nature or lipid in nature. So after enter into the cell membrane or cytoplasm, this hormone binds with cytoplasmic receptors and forms HRC. In the cytoplasm, aldosterone binds with the specific receptor protein and forms HRC, that means aldosterone receptor complex. And after forming this HRC diffuses into the nucleus and forms mRNA, and this mRNA is responsible for or activation of protein synthesis. So this is about mode of action of aldosterone. Then a short recap on the functions, the very important part of this chapter. So aldosterone has three important functions. It increases reabsorption of sodium ions mainly from renal tubules and also from sweat gland, salivary gland and intestine. Then next function is excretion of K plus ions and H plus ion through the renal tubules. So aldosterone acts on these solutes, that is sodium, potassium and hydrogen, and indirectly it acts on the ECF, volume and blood pressure. So in short, how aldosterone acts on the sodium ions into the nephrons, or particularly the tubular portion of the nephrons. It increases sodium reabsorption from DCT and collecting duct, so that sodium is excreted less through the urine and it is reabsorbed into the blood, and so that sodium ion concentration in the ECF volume as well as in the blood get increases under the influence of this aldosterone hormone. So when there is a aldosterone secretion is increased, there is an increased reabsorption of sodium into the blood, so that sodium get less excreted through the urine. So loss of sodium through urine get decreases, and that terminology is called as hyponatremia. While this aldosterone secretion is decreased, then sodium reabsorption get also decreased and loss of sodium through urine increases, and this terminology is called as hypernatremia. Then there is the same action in the sweat glands. Aldosterone causes sodium reabsorption from the sweat glands, so that in our perspiration or sweat there is a less excretion of sodium ions under the influence of this aldosterone hormone. So this is about sweat gland. The next action is on the salivary glands. Action is the same, that is reabsorption of sodium from saliva, so that in the saliva less sodium ion get excreted. So this action is also under the influence of aldosterone hormone. So aldosterone helps in the conservation of sodium in our body or in our ECF. The next action is on the intestine or GI tract. The same action is here, that is sodium reabsorption from intestine. Here the word reabsorption is not used, here the word is absorption. So aldosterone increases sodium absorption from intestine, especially from the colon part of the intestine, so that when there is a sodium get reabsorbed, then water is also absorbed from the intestine, and when this aldosterone secretes in less quantity, it prevents loss of sodium through the feces. It prevents loss of sodium through feces. But when there is aldosterone deficiency, then sodium absorption get also prevented, and so that there is a diarrhea because of more sodium is excreted with water, and so that the patient leads or causes this diarrhea. Then next action is on the ECF. Aldosterone increases sodium absorption, and when the sodium get absorbed, H2O is also absorbed in the equal quantity. That means H2O reabsorption is equals to sodium reabsorption, and both these reabsorption causes increase in the ECF volume of our body. So net result is the increase in ECF volume. And when extracellular fluid get increases, then our blood pressure or blood volume is also increases, and finally it leads to increase in the blood pressure. So this is about a short recap of previous lecture. Let's start here the new topic, that is aldosterone escape. This is also the one of the most important function of aldosterone escape. So aldosterone escape phenomenon. Here, the escape of kidney from salt retaining effect of excess administration or secretion of aldosterone. So in this effect, there is a escape of kidney from the function of aldosterone. Here the function of aldosterone is that sodium reabsorption, but kidney is escape from this function, and this is due to aldosterone. So that this effect or this escape is called as aldosterone escape or escape phenomenon. Escape of kidney from salt retaining effect of excess administration or secretion of aldosterone. So when there is a excess secretion of aldosterone, this aldosterone causes escape of kidney from salt retaining effect. Here the salt retaining effect, that means sodium reabsorption, sodium retaining effect. So kidney is escaped from this sodium reabsorption due to excess administration or secretion of aldosterone. So this is about aldosterone escape or escape phenomenon. So let us see how this aldosterone is responsible for escape of kidney from salt retaining effect. So let us see this mechanism. When aldosterone level increases, then what will happen? There is excess retention of sodium and water in the body, because here aldosterone has important function, that is retention of sodium, that means reabsorption of sodium. We have just seen the actions of aldosterone. So this is the one of the action of aldosterone, that is reabsorption of sodium. And when this aldosterone increases, aldosterone level is increases, this sodium reabsorption is also excess in the quantity, and when sodium is reabsorbed, water in the equal quantity also get reabsorbed. So overall effect is that our volume of ECF is also get increases. So let us see this flow chart. When aldosterone level increases, what will happen? Excess retention of sodium as well as water in our body. That means reabsorption of sodium as well as water in our body. Then it will causes volume of ECF increased and also our blood pressure. When our volume of ECF get increases, that means our cardiac output will also get increases, and for increased cardiac output our heart has to pump more, so that blood pressure get also increases for the increased ECF volume. And this effect is called as aldosterone induced high blood pressure, because there is a high blood pressure due to the effect of this aldosterone, because aldosterone causes excess retention of sodium as well as water, so that our cardiac output get also increases, so our heart have to pump in more pressure for increased cardiac output, so that our blood pressure get also increases, and this effect is due to the aldosterone. So this blood pressure is increased due to the aldosterone action or aldosterone function, so that this is called as aldosterone induced high blood pressure. So let us see next step of this: overstretching of arterial muscles. Then when our cardiac output get increases, blood pressure also increases, and our heart muscles get overstretched due to increased cardiac output. And when there is a overstretching of arterial muscle, there is a release of some hormones from the heart, and these hormones are ANP, BNP and CNP. So here this ANP, BNP and CNP are secreted from cardiac muscles during the overstretching of arterial muscles, and this overstretching of arterial muscle is caused due to increased cardiac output. And when this cardiac output increases, our arterial muscles of heart get overstretched, and during this overstretching, ANP, BNP and CNP, these hormones are secreted from cardiac muscles, and these hormones have opposite action to that of aldosterone. So let us see next step. This ANP, BNP and CNP causes increased excretion of sodium. Here the word is excretion. This action is exactly opposite to that of aldosterone. So ANP, BNP and CNP causes increased excretion of sodium. So our volume of ECF is increased due to aldosterone because of increased reabsorption of sodium, and this increased reabsorption of sodium is maintained by increased excretion of sodium with the help of these hormones or proteins secreted from our arterial muscles of the heart. So this ANP, BNP and CNP causes increased excretion of sodium, and when there is excretion of sodium increases, excretion of water is also increases through the urine. Then maintenance of ECF volume and decreases blood pressure. So in this flow chart, the starting was aldosterone level increases. When aldosterone level increases, then it will cause excess retention of water and sodium. So this step is corrected by this ANP, BNP and CNP, that is maintenance of ECF volume and decrease in the blood pressure. So in this flow chart, aldosterone helps to maintain the blood pressure with the help of ANP, BNP and CNP, and kidney is escaped from salt retaining effect, and this escape phenomenon is called as aldosterone escape or escape phenomenon. So here the significance is that because of aldosterone escape, edema does not occur, and edema is caused due to increased ECF volume. That means when our ECF volume increases, then in our body some changes are found, and one of the changes edema. So because of this aldosterone escape effect, this edema does not occur in our body. So aldosterone has one of the most important function is that aldosterone escape, that means escape of kidney from salt retaining effect, so that our blood pressure is maintained. So next action of the aldosterone is excretion of potassium ions. So let us see this action. So up to this slide we have seen first action, that is reabsorption of sodium. Reabsorption of sodium from renal tubules, reabsorption of sodium from sweat glands, reabsorption of sodium from salivary glands, reabsorption of sodium from intestine. After that, the next action of aldosterone is that excretion of potassium ions. So let us see second action, that is excretion of potassium ions. So aldosterone increases potassium excretion through the renal tubules. That means exactly opposite to that of sodium ions. That means sodium ions get reabsorbed while potassium ions get excreted from the renal tubules. So that in urine potassium get excreted out, but less sodium is excreted out, because in the sodium aldosterone has reabsorption action, while in the potassium ion aldosterone has excretion action. Aldosterone increases potassium excretion through the renal tubules. So when aldosterone is deficient, then what will happen? when there is a aldosterone secretion is deficient or less, then there is a less excretion of potassium ion. So that when there is a less excretion of potassium ion, that means in ECF volume potassium ion concentration get increases, and this terminology is called as hyperkalemia. That means increased potassium in the blood. And when this hyperkalemia occurs, when there is aldosterone deficiency, because action of aldosterone related to potassium ion is that potassium excretion, and when this aldosterone get deficient, potassium excretion also decreases, so that in our blood potassium ion get increases, and this terminology is called as hyperkalemia. But when there is a hyperkalemia, there is some effects on the heart. So let us see the effect of hyperkalemia on the heart. So when there is a hyperkalemia, there is a arrhythmia found in the heart. So weak contractions of the heart or development of arrhythmia because of this hyperkalemia, and this is very dangerous for our body. It will cause cardiac death also, but in very severe conditions. That means when there is a severe hyperkalemia, there is a weak contractions of heart, and this leads to cardiac death. Then third action is on the hydrogen ion, and in hydrogen ion, aldosterone also causes excretion of hydrogen ions. So aldosterone causes tubular secretion of hydrogen ions in the exchange for sodium ions. So aldosterone action, so suppose this is blood vessel and this part is renal tubule. So from this renal tubule part, the action of aldosterone is reabsorption of sodium while excretion of potassium and H plus ion. So sodium is reabsorbed from tubular portion to our blood vessels or ECF volume, while potassium and hydrogen ions are get excreted out through the urine. So under the influence of aldosterone, potassium and hydrogen ion concentration in the urine increases, while under the influence of aldosterone hormone, sodium concentration in the blood increases. So aldosterone causes tubular secretion of hydrogen ions in the exchange for sodium ions. So it reduces hydrogen ion concentration in the ECF fluid. So it will affect our acid-base balance. So in normal conditions, aldosterone is essential to maintain acid-base balance in the body. But when there is a hypersecretion, what will happen? When there is aldosterone secretion get increases, then tubular secretion of hydrogen ion also increases. That means hydrogen ion concentration in the blood get decreases, and when H plus ion concentration get decreases, that means pH of blood is more alkaline, so that hypersecretion of aldosterone causes alkalosis. While talking about exactly opposite condition, that is less secretion of aldosterone, that means less secretion of H plus ion concentration, that means increase H plus ion concentration in the blood, and when there is an increased concentration of hydrogen ion in the blood, the pH of blood get more acidic, and so that it will lead acidosis in our body. But in normal conditions, aldosterone is essential to maintain this acid-base balance in our body. Now next topic is regulation of secretion. So aldosterone secretion is regulated by four important factors. First one is ACTH, second one is decrease in the sodium ion concentration, third one is decrease in the ECF volume, and fourth one is increase K plus ion concentration. This increase K plus ion concentration is the most important out of these four factors. So let us see one by one. First is ACTH. So source of secretion of ACTH is anti-pituitary, and this ACTH is responsible for stimulation of secretion of glucocorticoids and mild stimulating effect on the aldosterone secretion. Here ACTH mainly stimulates secretion of glucocorticoids, but aldosterone hormone is the mineralocorticoids. So mild stimulating effect on aldosterone secretion. So ACTH has mild role for the secretion of aldosterone. Then second factor is decreased sodium ion concentration, third one is decrease in the ECF volume, and fourth one is increase in K plus ion concentration. So most effective stimulant for aldosterone secretion is the K plus ion concentration. So ACTH, first factor, ACTH mainly stimulates secretion of glucocorticoids than that of aldosterone. On aldosterone secretion, the ACTH has mild stimulating effect. Let us talk about second factor, that is decreased in sodium ion concentration and ECF volume. When there is a decreased sodium ion concentration and ECF volume, then it will cause renin secretion from JGA apparatus of the kidney, as we have seen this already in the excretory system. And when there is a renin secretion, renin acts on the angiotensinogen, and this angiotensinogen is converted into angiotensin first, and which is again converted into second with the help of ACE, and ACE is secreted from lungs, as we have already seen this flowchart in the excretory system. And this angiotensin second has many actions. That is, one of the most important action is that it acts on adrenal gland or adrenal cortex, and particularly zona glomerulosa, to secrete more aldosterone. So angiotensin second is responsible for secretion of aldosterone, and this aldosterone has action, that is retention of sodium and water and excretion of potassium. So we have seen all this flowchart in the renin angiotensin mechanism. And when aldosterone increases reabsorption of sodium as well as water, then there is a increased ECF volume. That means increase in the sodium ion concentration and ECF volumes. And when there is a sodium ion concentration increases, renin secretion get stopped from JGA apparatus. So there is an inhibition of JGA apparatus and stop the release of renin. So by this mechanism, our sodium ion concentration and ECF volume is maintained, and as well as aldosterone secretion is also regulated. Then inhibit the JGA apparatus and stop the release of renin. And when there is a renin secretion is stopped, then angiotensin second is not formed, because the action of renin is conversion of angiotensinogen to first, and there is a release of aldosterone is also stopped, because angiotensin second is not formed because of inhibition of JGA apparatus. So in this diagram here, when there is a drop in the blood pressure, drop in the fluid volume, then it will leads to renin release from the kidney. After that, when there is a renin is secreted from the kidney, angiotensinogen is converted into first, and first is converted into second. And when this second angiotensin second acts on the adrenal cortex, that is zona glomerulosa particularly, and there is a release of aldosterone, and this aldosterone has action on the renal tubules to stimulate the reabsorption of sodium as well as water, and like this our ECF volume is also maintained and aldosterone secretion is also get regulated. Now next topic is glucocorticoids. Glucocorticoids are the hormones secreted from middle zone, that is zona fasciculata. So we will see these glucocorticoids in the next lecture. So before concluding this lecture, a short recap on the most important topic, that is functions of aldosterone, and this can be asked for the long question as well as short question. And here the one important short note is there: renin angiotensin aldosterone mechanism. Many times this short note is asked in the university exam. So let us see a short recap on the most important topic, that is functions of aldosterone. So we have seen functions of aldosterone, that is reabsorption of sodium, excretion of potassium, excretion of H plus ion, and while acting on this sodium, potassium and hydrogen ions, aldosterone indirectly acts on ECF volume and also our blood pressure. These are the functions of aldosterone. There are three important functions. First one is reabsorption of sodium ions, excretion of potassium ion, excretion of H plus ion. So reabsorption of sodium ion through renal tubules, sweat gland, salivary gland and intestine. So in this action, aldosterone overall increases our sodium ion concentration in our ECF volume. Then next action is excretion of potassium ion through the urine. So when there is a excess secretion of aldosterone, there is a excess excretion of potassium ion through the urine, and when there is a deficiency of aldosterone, there is a less excretion of potassium ion, and it will lead hyperkalemia and it will affect the heart. It leads to arrhythmia in the heart, and sometimes it will cause cardiac death also. Then the next action is secretion of H plus ion, that means excretion of H plus ion, and through this H plus ion secretion, our acid base balance is maintained with the help of this aldosterone hormone. So let us see in the short. Sodium ions, but in this nephron part, particularly the renal tubules, so sodium ions are reabsorbed from the tubular portion of the nephrons, so that in the urine sodium ions get less excreted, while in the blood or extracellular fluid ECF sodium reabsorption is increased, so that in ECF sodium ion concentration increases. So hypersecretion of aldosterone leads to decrease in loss of sodium ion concentration through the urine, while hyposecretion of aldosterone causes increase in loss of sodium ion concentration in the urine. While in the sweat gland there is same action, that is reabsorption of sodium ion concentration from the sweat gland, so that loss of sodium in the body from the body through the sweat is also prevented. While same action in the salivary gland, sodium is reabsorbed from salivary glands, so that loss of sodium through the saliva is also get prevented. So aldosterone helps in the conservation of sodium in our body. Aldosterone increases sodium absorption from intestine also, and especially colon part. It prevents loss of sodium through the feces. But when the aldosterone secretion is deficient, it leads to diarrhea, because when there is a less secretion of aldosterone, there is a less reabsorption of sodium from the intestine. That means sodium is excreted out through the feces, and when this sodium is excreted out through the feces, when there is aldosterone deficiency, along with this sodium ions, water is also excreted out. So in the stool, water quantity as well as sodium ion concentration is increased, and it leads to diarrhea to the patient when there is a aldosterone deficiency. Then ECF volume. Aldosterone increases sodium absorption, so that our blood volume is also increases, because along with the sodium ion concentration, water is also reabsorbed. So water and sodium both are reabsorbed in the same quantity, and so that our ECF volume is increases. And when our ECF volume increases, it will increase in our blood pressure. So aldosterone has important action on the blood pressure, that is increase in ECF volume and as well as blood volume finally leads to increase the blood pressure. So this is most important phenomenon. It can be asked for one-liner, aldosterone escape phenomenon. So here in this phenomenon, kidney is escaped from salt retaining effect. Salt retaining effect, that means sodium reabsorption effect, and kidney is escaped from this sodium reabsorption due to this aldosterone, because aldosterone causes increase in ECF volume, and increase in ECF volume leads to secretion of ANP, BNP and CNP from arterial muscles, and ANP, BNP, CNP has action on the our excretion of sodium, and excretion of sodium again maintain our ECF volume, and this escape or this phenomenon is called as aldosterone escape phenomenon. So aldosterone escape or escape phenomenon is the escape of kidney from salt retaining effect from excess administration or secretion of aldosterone. So mechanism of this escape is that when aldosterone level increases, it will increase reabsorption of sodium and water in the body, so that our ECF volume as well as blood pressure get increases. And when there is an increase in our blood pressure due to the aldosterone, that is called as aldosterone induced high blood pressure. And when there is a blood pressure increases, there is a overstretching of arterial muscles due to increase in the cardiac output. And when this outstretching or overstretching of arterial muscle leads to secretion of ANP, BNP and CNP, that means arterial natriuretic protein, B type natriuretic protein and C type natriuretic protein. Natriuretic, that means the word natriuretic, natri is related to sodium, and uretic, that means it related to urine. So all these three proteins has action, and that is excretion of sodium. Natriuretic, that means sodium through the urine, that means excretion of sodium through urine. So these proteins are called as natriuretic proteins A, B and C. So all this protein increases excretion of sodium, and along with this excretion of sodium there is excretion of water also, and our increased ECF volume is maintained with the help of increased excretion of sodium as well as water through the urine. So our ECF volume is maintained, and so that our blood pressure is also get maintained or decreases. And this phenomenon is called as aldosterone escape phenomenon. So in this phenomenon, these three proteins are very important, which plays important role in our blood pressure maintenance as well as our maintenance of ECF volume, and these proteins are secreted from heart. So significance of this aldosterone escape is that it prevents edema in our body, and edema will develop due to increased ECF volume, but this escape phenomenon maintains the ECF volume, and so that edema does not occur due to this aldosterone escape phenomenon. The next action is on the potassium ions. Aldosterone is responsible for excretion of potassium ions through the renal tubules. When aldosterone is deficient, there is a less excretion of potassium ion through the urine. That means in our blood, potassium ion concentration increases, and it will lead to hyperkalemia, and hyperkalemia has important effect on the heart. That is, it will lead arrhythmia of the heart or weak contractions of the heart, and in the severe conditions it will cause cardiac death also. So aldosterone hormone is very important for regulation or maintenance of our blood pressure as well as our contraction of the heart. Next action is on the hydrogen ion concentration. In the hydrogen ion concentration, aldosterone also causes excretion of hydrogen ion in the exchange with the sodium ion. That means hydrogen ion is excreted out, at the same time sodium ion is reabsorbed. So aldosterone causes tubular secretion of hydrogen ions in the exchange for sodium ions, and so it reduces hydrogen ion concentration in the ECF. In normal condition, it is essential to maintain acid-base balance in our body, but when there is a excess secretion of aldosterone, it will lead alkalosis, because when there is a excess secretion of aldosterone, that means excess secretion of hydrogen ion, and when there is a excess secretion of hydrogen ion, that means in the blood H plus ion concentration get decreases, and when there is a H plus ion concentration get decreases, pH of blood get alkaline, and so that when there is a hypersecretion, it will lead alkalosis, while in hyposecretion it will lead acidosis. The next is regulation of secretion of aldosterone hormone. So we have seen four important factors. That factors are ACTH, decrease in sodium ion concentration, decrease in ECF volume, and last one is the K plus ion. So out of these four, increase in K plus ion concentration is a very important factor. ACTH mainly stimulates secretion of glucocorticoids than that of aldosterone secretion, because on the aldosterone secretion this ACTH has mild effect, while on the glucocorticoids has main effect. That means ACTH mainly stimulates secretion of glucocorticoids than that of mineralocorticoids, because aldosterone is the mineralocorticoids that is secreted from zona glomerulosa, while these glucocorticoids are secreted from zona fasciculata. The next factor is decrease in the sodium ion concentration and ECF volume, and when the sodium ion concentration is decreases, then renin is secreted from JGA of the kidney, and renin acts on angiotensinogen, which is secreted from liver, and this angiotensinogen is converted into angiotensinogen first, and which is again converted into ACE, which is secreted by pulmonary capillaries, angiotensin converting enzyme, and this ACE converts angiotensin first into the angiotensin second. Angiotensin second has many actions such as vasoconstriction as well as secretion of aldosterone. So here we are talking about secretion of aldosterone. So angiotensin second acts on zona glomerulosa and stimulates the zona glomerulosa to secrete more aldosterone, and aldosterone has important action on the sodium ion concentration, that is reabsorption of sodium and while excretion of potassium, and in this way increase in the sodium ion concentration and ECF. So sodium ion concentration is maintained with the help of this aldosterone, and when there is an increase in sodium ion concentration, it inhibits the secretion of renin from the JGA, and when there is a stop or release of renin, then angiotensin second is not formed because renin is not secreted to convert angiotensin first into the second, and release of aldosterone from adrenal cortex is also stopped because angiotensin second is responsible for stimulation of zona glomerulosa to secrete aldosterone. So next topic is glucocorticoid. So we will see these glucocorticoids in the next lecture. So this is the hormone secreted from adrenal cortex and mainly from middle zone, that is zona fasciculata, and as the word glucocorticoids, that means glucose and hormone that is secreted from cortex and which are steroid in nature. So glucocorticoids, that means hormones secreted from adrenal cortex and which acts on glucose metabolism. So in the next lecture we will see these glucocorticoids. So thanks for watching this video.